This is Randall. Thought I'd take a few moments to say hello to everybody who's been taking the sacred geometry class and to let you know that we've been working on level 2 material and it should be good to go within the next week. So I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about what we would be getting into, give you a little insight into what we would be covering in the level 2 class. We, of course, will continue our studies of the rudiments so that we become perfect masters of this process of geometric construction. But from there, we will be going into some very interesting other areas. One of the things that we will be doing is looking at the systems of proportion and how that leads us into the idea of harmonic geometry, which is one of the fundamental concepts behind this whole structure of sacred geometry, is creating a work, a composition where there is a definite relationship between the part and the whole of the composition. And this is what harmonic geometry provides the key to. So, of course, I'm very interested in practical applications, and so we will be looking at how this concept of classical symmetry, which is, again, the harmonic relationship between the part and the whole, was at the root of all of the ancient applications of sacred geometry that we can find throughout history. So we are going to continue to develop our drawing skills by working on a series of patterns that are based upon this harmonic geometry, which has also been called dynamic symmetry by the modern art historian J. Hambidge, who wrote several interesting works on the use of this particular type of proportioning system back in the 1920s. And we have worked a lot of that material into the curriculum in the level 2 classes. Of course, you were introduced to some of that in the level 1 classes. But here we go into it as a fully mature system and how it was used in architecture and art primarily, because we'll be looking at practical applications, but also, of course, how it's found in nature as well, because there are interesting examples in nature. Then we're going to segue into this, a brief study of sacred metrology, which is the systems of measurement. And when I talk about sacred metrology, I'm referring to the ancient methods used by builders and designers throughout the ages to determine the proportions of their various handiworks. We know from numerous sources of the scriptural sources that measurement and proper measurement was considered absolutely fundamental to any kind of sacred undertaking. And so what we find is that there was in use a system of, shall we say, planetary measurement that was in widespread use by multiple cultures, and all seems to be linked together by a synthetic geometry, which is the dynamic geometry, the dynamic symmetry that we will be studying in level 2. So we will be looking at the mysteries of the ancient measuring systems. And then from there, we're going to be exploring much deeper into symbolism and how symbolism provides a language compatible and complementary to the geometry that we're looking at, and how this geometry coupled with the symbolism provides a key to understanding many of the more arcane mysteries from the various traditions. So we will be bringing more of that material in. And symbolism, very important. We'll be probing very deeply into symbolism by the time the second level classes have reached their culmination. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of where we'll be going with it. The material gets progressively more interesting as we go along, I think you'll find. I think it's important, though, to cover the basics, because geometry is a system for developing the whole mind. That includes both the right and left hemispheres of thinking, both the intuitive and the rational, linking these two together. And geometry was considered to be the preeminent system for cultivating that kind of a mental awareness. And this is why it was considered to be so important to is a prerequisite for metaphysical traditions, particularly in the classical worlds. So anyways, I look forward to moving ahead with the new classes, and we're excited about some of the material we're putting together. And you're going to find, I think, that there's going to be some new dimensions to the presentation of this material.